So I'm going to show you websites to find remote jobs in this video, and I'm also going to go on my computer and actually show you some of those sites where you can find work. Now, before I go into the best websites to find remote jobs, I want to start with a quick distinction of gigs versus jobs. This video is going to focus on finding remote jobs, and I'm not really going to discuss gigs. Gigs are, just to define them, gigs are things that where you can work for multiple companies at one time, and they're not, and it's not necessarily full-time employment. Gigs are just little pieces of work you do. Some sites you can find those if you're looking for them are like Amazon Mechanical Turk and Upwork.com, Freelancer.com, and there's a bunch of other sites. But we're going to focus on finding full-time remote jobs in this video. Now, a few things you need to understand. It's a very competitive marketplace for finding remote jobs. Again, you may think you're very valuable, but you're generally speaking going to take a pay cut if you are working a remote job. Okay? Because there's people all over the world. So that's one quick distinction. You have to really fight hard to get these remote jobs. And if you get one, you have to keep it, okay? And make sure you're always at the top of your skill set, because employers have a lot more people to choose from when they're looking for remote jobs. Doesn't everybody want to work at home and play with their kids and, hang out on the beach in Thailand? Everybody wants to do, and have a consistent paycheck. It's obvious. Everybody wants to do that. So it's more competitive. Second off is you want to have a niche. So a niche, if you are a video editor, it's better to be a video editor for self-development videos. If you have a really defined niche, you're going to be able, there's going to be way more companies that are going to be willing to work. You can work remotely with. Okay. One side note to keep in mind is any job can be a remote job. And I'm not going to talk about how you can turn any job into a remote job in this video. But really, if you have a very well-defined niche, like what I just said, self-development YouTube videos, you can work remotely anywhere. You just contact a company that has those sorts of clients and you can work remotely for them. If you have a niche such as, you are, I don't know, it can be anything. You are a web designer for consumer electronics websites. That's a good niche, and that's something that you can turn any job into a remote job if you're one of the better people in your field. The last thing is ego. Ego, you gotta get rid of it, okay? You got to get rid of your ego when you're working a remote job. Again, the marketplace is very competitive. So if you come into something where, and I'm not saying lose your personality, but if you have certain political beliefs, if you have certain religious beliefs, if you have certain, if you have a certain type of sense of humor that some people find divisive, if you joke around with your clients too much, if you are, there's any number of things where you really inject your ego into situations in your job or with your employer. Again, in a regular job, people are basically, people can handle these weird differences in personality. But when you're working remotely, you can't do it. You can't do it. You really just have to be client focused. How can I get the most work done? How can I give you what you want, not inject what I feel is needed into the situation. So you really have to move your ego aside and just become a productive little capitalist citizen. Now I'm going to show you these 3 different distinctions about remote jobs that you need to get them. And then I'm going to show you some websites where you can find a remote job. Okay, so let's check out some websites where you can find remote jobs. So the first website I'm bringing up here is called Working Nomads. And Working Nomads is kind of a play on this term called digital nomad. Digital nomad is kind of, the new term for people who are really working remote jobs. It kind of glorifies this side of things. Because generally speaking, if you can work a remote job, and I'm talking about a real full-time job where you're getting paid like it's a full-time job, you can live anywhere in the world you want. It's a really beautiful thing. And in another video, I talked about, you know, how to take time off and travel for a year. I talked about how really all you need to travel full time is $500 to $2,000. And really any job, any skill-based job that you can get here in America is going to pay you at least $2,000 a month, no matter what skill you have. So you can travel full time with any job, really, you have remote. Okay, so let's go into this. So as you see, there's a ton of jobs here, and most jobs that are posted are going to be for things that are something around development. There's a huge demand for developers and development. Look, junior or graduate developer, you know, graphics creator, a lot of design jobs, VP of communications, project manager, React.js developer, okay, software engineer, Ruby developer, UI developer, DevOps engineer, so many dev jobs. But if we look here, we can also see there's a lot of marketing jobs out there too, okay? Obviously, development, if you want to work remotely, get a skill in development, okay? Get some sort of, you know, become a Swift developer, become a, you know, whatever. Get some sort of development skill. But if you want to do something else, lots of marketing jobs, you know, director of marketing, VP of communications, PPC manager, SEO manager, copywriter, project manager, you know, creative director. So you have all sorts of marketing positions available. But keep in mind, if you look at this, it's a 6-to-1 ratio, okay? 6-to-1 ratio of dev jobs versus marketing jobs. So it's just a bit more competitive, and the pay is a bit less for marketing jobs. Whereas if you can develop well, you have a really good chance of getting hired. You know, that gives you your best chance of working dev. Another site I like is called Tech Guys Who Get Marketing. And this is a site I actually use because in my business, I work with a lot of people who do various marketing activities for me. I have so many people that do marketing related stuff for my business, and they're all remote. You know, I use sites like this one. So you see right here, Tech Guys Who Get Marketing, and I'm at their job page. So work at Tech Guys. So as we see on this page, they have a bunch of requirements. Again, you know, they're looking for people who are good in programming. They're looking for people who are good in design. And they're looking for people who are good in project management here. So it's programming, project management, etc. Now, they have a lot of requirements here. They require you to send videos of yourself. They require you to know all this different, you know, all these different marketing aspects of things. They require you to know these different CRMs. They require you to know a lot of specific tools and skills that, frankly, it'll take time to learn. But if your goal is really to get a remote job, it might be important to look into, you know, even if you're a developer that knows PHP, CSS, and HTML, you know, they're looking for people that know Infusionsoft, that know WordPress, that know Salesforce, right? These are all important things if you are looking to work with, if you're a tech guy looking to work with a marketing company. And I'm sure it's, you know, they have some pretty good jobs there. So those are all things you want to be aware of. Now, last but not least, you can simply Google job boards, remote work job boards in Google, and you can find a bunch of job boards. Here's an article on Medium, 28 job boards to find remote work for travelers and digital nomads, okay? So if we scroll down here, we see a ton of job boards. Admirable Pro, Angel Lists, Atlas and Boots, Digital Nomad, DNX Jobs, Flex Jobs. You have a ton of job boards out there where you can find remote jobs. And again, there is a marketplace for it out there. A lot of new business owners like myself are primarily working with people or exclusively working with people on a remote basis. So the jobs are out there, it's increasing. You do have to be competitive, but you can do it. And if you do it, I mean, the The benefits are you can spend your whole life, near your kids, closer to home. Again, that doesn't mean you can't work. I think a lot of people think that means they can be lazy or just run to their kid when it's crying. You can't do that, okay? If you're working a job, you can't just run out of the room and take care of your kids or whatever. But also, you do, and it also means you can't just go to a foreign country that has no internet access, or not good internet access, so you can't do GoToMeetings. You need to make sure you have stable internet access and you are available when you tell your boss you're going to be available. It doesn't mean that you can slack off or, your friends are feeling like doing something so you can leave early. It doesn't mean that. A remote job is a job. It just means you can wake up in whatever city you want to and still do it.